Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come. Happy holiday week. Where are you? Are you celebrating anything? I hope you're having a nice time. I was just in LA with our friend Tim, who you might remember from a few seasons. And he just got engaged, you guys. It was so fun. His boyfriend, now fiance, planned an escape room, and then at the end of the escape room was an engagement. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I hope cute things are happening for you. This week's episode is so funny and so cute. We are talking to Max Zavidow, who is a comedian and TikToker who you may know from such videos as
What do we want to get pegged? How do we do it? By finding women who are down. How do we find them? By putting out respectful feelers on the internet.
So I'm going to talk to him about some of his videos and some of his experiences, and they might be very relatable to you. If they are, please DM us, let us know. If you like this episode, rate, review, and subscribe. Leave us a nice little review. We love it. Okay, let's get this episode started.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
how's it going?
Good. I'm so excited for this episode. Welcome, Max Zavidow.
Yeah.
Max, you posted a TikTok, I think recently,
Yeah.
where you were talking about how at summer camp, there was one guy who knew how to jack off
Yeah.
and all the other guys would watch.
Yeah.
How did this come about? And then we'll talk about the second half of the video too.
So this all started at Jewish sleepaway camp. And I specify Jewish because I think that a lot of people that went to Jewish sleepaway camp have similar experiences to this one.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. So one summer I show up to camp, like literally no one in the bunk could masturbate, but Dan was the one kid in the bunk who could, and it was like really interesting to us because like what happened to him, like we were like, okay, this is gonna happen to us pretty soon. And I don't remember whose idea it was. I don't know who we patent with the idea of watching him. I just remember he could do it, and then one night we just kind of like sat around his bed and he just like went bananas. And it was awesome. We were all like, what? That's so cool. Like, where'd that come from? Because we didn't know. That had never happened to us.
Yeah. How old were you guys? Like what summer was
probably
this?
like 11 or 12.
Okay.
And then we kept watching because we were like, this is so cool. We were like, that he can do this and we can't. And then another kid in our bunk asked us if we would watch him because halfway through the summer he was like, let me give this a shot, and he could too. So, but I always say that that we actually didn't watch him. We all thought it was kind of weird that he asked. I liken it to kind of like Buzz Aldrin landing on the moon. It's like no one cares second person to do this. You were the second person. Like,
Right.
People care about Neil Armstrong. So
yes, I was thinking about it like this one guy who's performing every night, you know, he's selling out every night. Everybody's coming. He's doing matinees even, I'm sure, on Saturdays.
In the afternoon, yeah.
And then this other kid is like, oh, well, I could be an understudy. I could do off Broadway.
Exactly.
And it's like, I don't want to watch that.
Nobody wants to watch the under. I always. So the kids in my bunk were like sometimes a little bit homophobic about like other things not related to that, like completely like forgetting like what they would like watch regularly. And I always thought it was so funny because like they're being homophobic, but like we would watch this guy spank one out like twice a week.
Every night.
And and I was always like, it's crazy that we're being homophobic because like not only do we watch him masturbate twice a week, but we also have the other guy. We also have
options.
Yeah. So we literally have an understudy. Like, that's a Broadway thing. And that's like, I feel like that is the gayest thing that we could have is an understudy to the guy that we watch masturbate. And then they would be, and then, so part of the story is that later in the summer, another guy in our bunk, Jake, kissed a guy. And the guys in my bunk were like, we can't be friends with him anymore because like that's gay. And I just remember being like, that's
Which is wild.
crazy. Yeah, like that's so hypocritical because like we're watching him squeeze the life out of himself twice a week, and you're gonna tell me that that's where we draw the line. So
This is where we draw the line.
yeah, so we were just like huge fans of his, and he gave us everything he had.
You gave him standing O's. He gave you laying O's.
Laying O's. He gave us all of his O's, and so
Or
much
actually,
more.
I can't believe I just presumed his position.
No, he was in bed. He was in bed. We would gather around,
and everybody was around in a circle. It was like Shakespeare in the round.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was like we were in like Central Park, just in that little auditorium, just watching this guy go bananas. Yeah, he was actually on the top bunk, so we had to like peer over the top.
That's very Coliseum now. This guy, he goes back in the ages. This is a pure art form. Well, and it's funny that you kicked it off being like, I feel like this is a common experience because like, one, I reached out because of the hypocrisy of being like, one thing's gay and one thing isn't.
Yeah.
But another reason is like, yeah, we had one girl in our bunk at camp who could masturbate and would announce it, but we didn't get the show. Like she would go under her covers and stuff. And I've told this story on one occasion.
Yeah.
And it was a Refinery 29 video about masturbating. It was a series that I was invited to do before I had ever had an orgasm.
What?
So there's a bunch of videos of me on the internet talking about masturbating from a very uninformed place.
So were you like pretending that you had, or were you just saying like how did that,
well, no,
what did you say?
I'll bring that back. Talking about coming from a very uninformed place because I was masturbating. I was trying. But one of the things I said in that was I was like, yeah, it was like so weird because at camp, like one girl would get under the covers and like she'd be like, I'm masturbating. And then sometimes other girls would follow suit, you know, and everybody would be under their things, like kind of like giggling and like, and then I go and making like all these like, like fake noises because nobody knows how to come then.
No.
I said.
Yeah, you were like, but maybe they did.
I said with authority.
Yeah, you said with so much command.
These people were definitely coming.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I actually had a similar experience to that too, because the next summer we came back to camp, everyone in the bunk could masturbate except for me. And so, but I didn't know like how it was actually, like you don't know what it is. You're like, oh, I think I'm doing it. But you don't really know because you're not actually doing it. You don't know what it's supposed to feel like or happen. So just like, I just pee on myself a little bit and I'd be like, I'm done, guys. All right, guys, good show today. We'll wrap it up. I was like Peter Parker in like Spider-Man. I was like living this like double life.
The hands are sticky, so
not
something must have
mine.
happened.
Yeah. I was shooting
pee.
no webs. Yeah, it was pee.
It was pee.
It was pee. It was pee.
That's how I used to be with like orgasms up until starting the podcast is I would look for any physical indication that like once I looked it up and it was like, if you get a rash, that means you came. And I wouldn't feel good at all, but I'd be like, oh yeah, totally.
You're like,
look.
oh my God, wow. What an orgasm.
What an orgasm. So wait, how did you deal with it when you were the last man standing?
I lied my ass off.
You just lied.
I lied.
No judgment.
No, I was a menace at camp. Like, did you guys have like color war at your camp? Okay, yeah. So, like, people took it like really, really, really seriously at my camp.
Of course.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people can't comprehend just how much people cared about it. Like, people would like lay their life on the line for their color war team.
There was a person who like hated me at camp, but then I made like a winning like SWAT in volleyball. I don't even know what it's called. And she was like, I love you now. Like you won for our team.
It fixes relationships. It breaks relationships. There's tears. There's blood. It's magical.
Robin just said, what is color war?
Yes. So color war is it's when they split up the entire camp into two teams, and those two teams compete against each other in like a ton of events. So like basketball, football, sailing, rope burning, and it all like culminates in the rope burning for a lot of camps. And the winning team,
What
it's
is
like
rope
this huge
burning?
deal. Oh, you guys didn't? Okay.
Next question.
So rope burning is so you would go into the final night of Color War with however many points your team had, and then you would have rope burning, and there were 4 divisions like on senior side, which was like when you were older, and that's when you were allowed to participate in Color War. There'd be freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, kind of like high school, but we were all younger. And each class,
we weren't called that.
Yeah, everyone's got like their own things. Yeah. It's always something like that. Where'd you go?
Camp Vega for girls.
Okay. I went to Camp Greylock for boys.
Okay, we really liked the Greylock boys.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think they do a really nice job raising like good men.
Nice men.
Yeah.
Except for that they're a little homophobic.
In the same way that I think all like 12-year-old boys would be homophobic. Like I don't think a lot of them would be homophobic today, but
right,
I think that a lot of
time.
it's just like you don't even understand what it is. But I'll never give them the credit in my stand-up because it's not as funny.
Totally.
So rope burning. So each like level gets a rope, right? And they soak these ropes in these like insane like substance that it makes them really hard to burn, and they like soak them over the entire course of the summer, and then you have to burn the rope, and whoever burns their rope first, they get like a shit ton of points.
And so all sounds like euphemisms for jacking off.
I know, it's crazy. Like it's an amazing race, and so yeah, whoever like wins rope burning usually like wins Color War, and it's so emotional when like people win or they lose. Like there's people cry so much. So part of Color War for us
we had a point system, and it was like Hogwarts at the end where it was like, and then somebody got points for valor.
Yeah, exactly, for valor and for honor, and
you get the Charlie Hustle Award for tennis. Yeah.
But we so during Color War, like you would get points for keeping your bunk clean. But what they would do is like they would like go through your bunk and like tear shit up. Like they would like go under your covers, into your clothes, just to see if you were like hiding anything like candy or or like literally anything. And so what I did was the guy who lived in the bunk below me during Color War, he was on the other team. And so I purchased like they would sell porn at our camp through what's it called? Like someone would buy a pornographic magazine, and but you could buy pages from it. He wouldn't sell the whole magazine; he would just sell pages.
Amazing.
And so I went to this guy Nick, and I purchased a page of porn. Porn being like the the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, like not porn, but I went and I hid it under my roommate's covers. So when they came in the morning and they like tore his bed apart, they found the porn. And he lost so many points for their team. Yeah.
Oh my God.
People took that shit really, but like, so I all to say like I was a little shit.
Wait, can we talk about the porn black market at camp?
Yeah, of course.
So he would sell one page. He clearly came with a bunch. Would people trade pages? I
don't think anyone trade pages. I think once you had a page, it was kind of yours.
That was your page.
Yeah, I think a page would go for like $5. But you think about how many pages are in a magazine like that. Like
this kid was like cleaning up.
He was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He like founded like Uber for porn.
Or he like founded tube sites because it's like already existing porn, and then he's selling it again and not giving any profits to the originals.
No, they're not getting any profits. It all went to Nick. Good guy.
Do you remember the first time that you actually did come?
Yeah, it was It was oh God, late October 2011, the fall day. We had just finished playing tackle football outside of the school. There was like a bus of kids. Like I took the bus home, and we would all get off at the bus at the same stop and like play tackle football, which I never should have played. No, I don't have the build for it even then.
Truly, no one does, right? They're all getting really hurt.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea. But I Googled a video that I had previously seen. So the first video, so I went to Pornhub and I Googled beaver licking. And I just watched these two girls go to town on themselves. And
on themselves?
On each other, sorry. On each other. They're not that flexible. And I remember I came once and I was like, oh my God. It's like, holy shit. And then I just like probably masturbated another like 6 or 7 times that same day. I just like, I did not leave my room. I just went like crazy on myself. I was like, that was amazing.
Unreal.
Yeah. I remember looking up, there was a beaver licking, and also it's like, and also female bodybuilders. I love them.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that was
I love that.
yeah. So that was like, those were like the first things that I was like
TikTok is the first thing that showed me that I'm like into really muscular women.
Yeah. Oh, I
had no idea before.
I have long known that about myself, but I tried to ignore it forever. I tried to just like pretend like I was like, that's not you. I was like, you're what? I think part of it was like growing up, anytime like we would like see like a really muscular woman in like a video or like a movie or a TV show, my mom would always be like, ugh. And then when I was in high school, there was this girl that I really liked, and she was really strong, and my friends would always be like, ugh, like that girl, like she looks like a man. But I knew that they thought she was hot too, but they just wouldn't admit it. And I was like, ugh. But it all made me feel like super insecure. It actually led to this like insane coming of age experience in college. Because I like for the longest time I had tried to ignore that piece of myself. And then when I was a senior, I was on a trip with my friends, and we were in a pool, or we were at my friend's house on a trip, and I took an edible, and I just like for the first time I like saw that about myself in a way where I couldn't ignore it. It was just so I was like this is you, and you've been ignoring it for forever. You've been ignoring like yourself forever, but you can't ignore it anymore, which was a great moment. But then that realization made me deeply uncomfortable, because even though I couldn't ignore it, I still wasn't comfortable with it yet.
Totally.
And then all my friends were like a year older than me, and they had graduated, right? So I went back to college, and I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. So it was just like, I was just like really sad for a few months. And that was in August of 2019. And then in October of 2019, my best friend from growing up came out to visit me. He went to school in New Jersey. I went to school in Los Angeles. So he came out, he visited me. He really wanted to go to a dispensary. We go to a dispensary. The guy who's selling us the weed is like, hey, like he sold us like on a particular thing. He was like, just be careful with this because it hits on the back end. And we were like, what does that mean? Didn't know what that meant. And then we went to a friend's house in Los Angeles, and we were smoking it. And it was like, I was like back at my like friend's house on the trip, and I was like really upset again, and I was really upset. And then my friend turns to me and goes, "Oh, remember, be careful because this hits on the back end." And I was like, "Oh fuck, we're not even on the back end yet." So I was like, "That is really scary. Like, where is this going to take me?" And my friend could tell that I was like upset. So we get in a car and we drive, and he's like the most wise person I know. I love him. He's a great guide. He's a very sage person. And so we're driving, and we're driving like along the Pacific Coast Highway, and I look into the mirror of the car, and I like see this guy with an afro, and I was like, who the fuck is that guy behind me? And I turn around and I'm like, there's no one behind us. Like, it's me. Like, I was looking in a mirror, like I am the man with the afro. And I was like, hold on, am I disassociating? And then I was like, that's not a real word. You just made that up, Max. Disassociating is not a thing. But it sounded like a really real word. So I Googled it, and it was a real word.
It is a word.
It is a word, and it meant what I thought it did. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I tell my friend, and I'm like, hey, dude,
but I've never heard of it as like seeing yourself as a man with an afro.
Yeah, I had just started growing my hair out, so it was really big.
Okay.
And I turned to my friend, I'm like, hey, I think I'm disassociating. He was like, is there anything that's like weighing you down, man? Like, it sounds like you just need some catharsis. And I was like, no, there's nothing. There's nothing that I'm thinking about. I guess I'm just disassociating for no reason. And then I green out, and when I come to, we're in my favorite Thai restaurant in LA. It's called Cholada. It's in Malibu. It's like overlooking the water. It's beautiful, and it's really inexpensive. If you're ever in LA, go to Cholada.
Next time, Rob.
Yes, it's so good. And I have nothing in front of me. My friend's just like going to town on some pad thai, and I come to him, and I'm like, okay, if you don't tell your best friend right now, you will never tell anyone. And I was like, okay, do you remember that, like, when you asked me in the car, you were like, are you okay? And I was like, is there anything you need to talk about? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, there is. Like, I love muscular women. And he was like, how muscular? And I answered him not with a word, but with a sound. I was like, and he was like, I got you. He was like, I know exactly what you mean. You're good. And then we went on a hike the next day, and it was great. We talked about it a little bit more, but he didn't go to school in Los Angeles. He went to school in New Jersey. So he eventually he left, and I was left there alone. I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. And I was still really sad, but like the only thing that was keeping me going was like this hope that I would get to this place where I could like be myself and be like comfortable with it. Cause I would make like these small steps forward. Like I would swipe right on someone that I thought was hot. And then like I would match, and then maybe I would like send a message. Like it was these small things that were giving me hope. And then before I could like really make like significant progress, the pandemic happened and I went home. And over the pandemic, I think I just like had to confront myself. So I just got much more comfortable with it. Like I would talk to some friends, and every time I would talk to someone about it, they'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Like whatever.
Isn't that weird when the conversation is much easier than it like, you've like projected it to be?
Yeah. And I felt like there were always people that I like would scapegoat and be like, well, I can't be myself because like they're gonna like hate me for it, or they're gonna think I'm weird. And then like the person that I was like most concerned about was my friend who like very conservative guy. He like grew up in Jersey, but like went to Alabama, like moved to the South after college. And I was like, hey, like I need to tell you something. And I told him, and he was like, oh dude, like I'm like a 5'6" dude who only dates women over 6 feet tall. Like I get it. You're good. And I was like, oh, cool. So I've just been like putting this on myself the whole time.
100%. I was going to say the person that you're most afraid of's opinion is your opinion
myself.
At the end of the day. Yeah. Because you've been inundated with other people's opinions that you're like, oh, those are valuable opinions.
Yeah. And you think it's like that you also like, because you're so afraid of yourself, you don't want to like blame yourself. So you put that onus on like other people, which was crazy.
I just think like not to take away your experience. I love it. Amazing. But I think it's so funny that people feel they have to come out as liking muscular women.
I know.
Because it is something that is so like, and I'm not saying this from a I don't get it place. I'm saying it from I used to not want to work out because I was like, oh, well, I can't bulk up. No one will ever love me. Like that's what you're like under the impression of that like the worst thing you can be as a woman is strong. Yeah.
But I think that like guys actually like a lot of guys love it, but like aren't necessarily like, comfortable saying it, which might just be me projecting again my experience onto like other people. But
I think there's so many times that I've been seeing men dating women that they don't even like their body. Like there would be this guy that would hook up with me all the time because he liked my body. He liked a more like curvy body, but he would only date waifishly thin women. And he'd be like, oh, I'm not even attracted to these women, but like this is what society wants from me, you know?
Yeah. I literally like when I got to college, I was hooking up with people that I wasn't attracted to. And it was because like I was like, oh, like I know what this is supposed to. I know what college is supposed to be like. I know what like sex. I've seen American Pie. I've seen Project X. Like I know what this is supposed to be. And it was just
supposed
crazy.
To be hooking up with conventionally hot people.
Yeah, but like,
then what the issue is with that is that everybody is competing for the same 5 conventionally hot people that maybe they're not even attracted to. Like, how cool is it if everyone can just be attracted to what they're attracted to,
I know,
and then everybody has a partner?
It's awesome.
Potentially, or you know.
Yeah, I remember talking to that same friend, the one who came to visit me from New Jersey, and I was like, I just don't think like that the people that I'm attracted to would be attracted to me, which I think is like maybe a concern that some people share. But he was like, well, why do you think that? And I'm like, well, if they're really into like working out or whatever, like then they will probably like people who like work out. And he was like, yeah, but you have to think about it. Like sexuality is a spectrum, not only in the sense of like male, female, but in the sense of like specific types of people. And it's like, if you fall over here and the people that you're attracted to fall over here, 1000%, there's going to be some people over here that are attracted to the people over here.
Of course.
And that was really helpful to hear.
Yeah. I have a friend who is a very, very, very tall, a big woman. Yeah. And I have another friend who he like revealed to me when he knew that her and I were friends. He goes, oh my God, I have a giant woman fetish. Like I just love gigantic women. Like that's apparently that's a trend on TikTok right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are into giant women, they're all over TikTok right now.
Mm-hmm.
But so I spoke to her and I was like, any chance you're into like really thin, small? And she's like, that's literally all I date.
Yeah. Did you hook them up? Did you introduce them?
Well, it turns out they didn't like each other's personalities.
Oh. That'll happen.
And that happens too.
Yeah. Yeah. But okay. So the first time that I came was in 8th grade, but the first time that I feel like I like really came, was like, so I graduated college, I moved home, COVID's happening. And then I moved out into my own place and I started for the first time in my life, like actually dating people that I was attracted to. And it was fun for the first time because I feel like in college, it was like, I never enjoyed sex because I was like, you were never doing what people
mechanical.
Like, yeah, it's just something you're supposed to do. And I remember I met this girl on an app who was a diver at Penn State and she was shredded and
trapped out.
Yeah, exactly. Trapped out. It was awesome. And we go on a date and on the date, she like asked me point blank, she's like, what's your type? And I was like, it's you. And she was like, oh, I knew you say that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, like really, like it's you. And then I was like, what's your type? And she was like, oh, it's you. And then she went to the bathroom. And by the time she got back from the bathroom, I had paid the bill. And I was like, let's just get out of here. So we went back to her place. And this is kind of like, this moment is kind of like part of the reason why I do comedy now, was because we were hooking up and I was like, wow, this is so fun. You were honest about who you were. And like, look, you're doing something you want to do and it's fun and you're having a good time. And then you were like, but you're not yourself all the time. So, and you don't know when another opportunity like this is going to happen. So like, just make sure that you're yourself 100% right here and that you like exist here. And so as I'm about to finish, I scream, I'm like, flex. And she hits me with like a tricep flex. And I just like grabbed on and I came everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that's literally like part of the reason I do comedy now. Because
teamwork.
It was teamwork. I was like, in that moment, I was like, you were honest about what you wanted. She was fine with it.
And she probably felt so hot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. We never saw each other again, but yeah.
But still nice.
It was still a really nice moment.
Great experience.
Yeah, a great experience.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
You have hashtag bisexual in a bunch of your videos.
I do.
Do you identify as a bisexual person?
Yes, as a bi man. The men that I have been interested in, like historically, it's usually people that like I know pretty well. And like it grows out of a friendship usually. Whereas like with women, it's more like I would just like see someone and want to like hook up with them.
Do you remember when you knew about that aspect of yourself?
Yeah. So I must have been like 9 or 10. And I was watching at my grandparents' house in Connecticut, John Tucker Must Die. And
so great.
Jesse Metcalf was a big sexual awakening for me. I was like, holy shit. I was like, he's really hot. So Jesse Metcalf.
That dunking scene? Yeah.
The dunking scene, that's what people usually go to. I think it was more so
the
scene where he like gets caught. No, where he gets caught in in the hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was big for me.
So when you were in the car with your friend though, and you're having your green out moment, and he's being like, is there something that you want to confess? Like, you know it's muscular women, but like, is any part of you being like, I should probably talk about the fact that I'm bisexual too? Oh, I
had already come out as bisexual. I was never so my
what?
College, oh yeah, that never made me uncomfortable.
What?
Because
I'm speechless.
When I was in college, I joined a fraternity that was not only like very like queer friendly, but like also like had a ton of like a ton of gay men. I think all fraternities have an exceedingly large number of gay men, but
I think they do, but they're not usually like out and proud.
Yes, but in this fraternity they were, and it was the only like
unreal.
Like there were fraternities that had like many more gay people than we'd had, but we were the only place where people were like really encouraged to be themselves like that, which was really cool. And I give a lot of credit to the people that like, you know, like the leadership of that fraternity, the people in that fraternity. But a lot of it was like, you know, gay men joining and being like, I'm not gonna be myself. which was met with a lot of like, yeah, like of course, go do your thing. And that was something that like really attracted me to that group of people. Were like they were clearly always just having so much fun, and it was because they didn't care what anyone else thought about them.
I love that. It makes me very aware of the patriarchy, that you can be so out and proud because being attracted to men, yes. You know what? We're on board. Yes. But a woman with a body type that is not standard, terrifying.
Yeah. It's really like, it's so interesting because like, yeah, there were like two things that like, in theory, like I would have felt uncomfortable about. And
if the kids at camp are being like, oh, things are gay, they're not being like, oh, that's fucking a muscular woman.
Yeah. So I think had I not been in that fraternity, I probably also would have not been super comfortable with it. But like, yeah, I mean, like, I didn't have a single like straight friend in college until my senior year when everyone graduated and I started making friends with like other people. Yeah, like I only went out to gay clubs in Los Angeles. Only hung out with like gay people. So it was like it was like second nature in a way for me to. That was like, oh yeah, like I mean, I'm like what am I even hiding from? Like this is like where I'm going all the time. Yeah, I came out when I was like a sophomore, and it was relatively painless, except for this one guy in my fraternity who was like, no, you're not. Like you can't be like attracted to like men and women. He was like, you're not bi, which was I really didn't like that experience.
Yeah. So I'm realizing how much younger you are than me right now. And
what made you realize that?
Well, just like the first come being the year that I graduated college, that kind of tipped me off. But like earlier you were saying, you were like, yeah, I don't think kids at camp would be like that now, like homophobic and stuff. And
no, I think they would be.
You think they would be? Okay.
It's not that I don't think kids at camp right now would be homophobic. I think that the kids I went to camp with who have grown up
would not be those type of people.
Yes.
Totally. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking about, because I'm like, I feel like there's a new wave of homophobia like all the time. Like it seems like every generation is like, oh, well, when we were younger, you couldn't be gay, but now you can, or and it just sounds, it gets repetitive, but also it's like, how do you make any real progress when it keeps wishy-washing back and forth?
I think, the homophobia from children might just look a little bit different. But I also do think that they might be a little bit kinder now. Just because, like, it's like when I went to camp, like gay marriage wasn't even legalized still. So I think that I'm not saying it's like completely.
When I was growing up, it was legal to get an abortion everywhere.
Yeah, the times have changed. But yeah, I'm sure that undoubtedly like that kind of like homophobia still exists, but
it's rampant right now. The transphobia, like all of the don't say gay laws and bans and shit like this.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking of like where we live, you know.
Yeah. Right, where we live is much better.
But much safer
I
space.
do still see people like I grew up going to a very liberal school.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends now we know are queer, like myself included. We kind of just found each other at the time, but nobody was out.
Yeah, nobody was like identifying
not even to each other. Yeah. So that always confuses me when I'm like, oh, even the liberal schools and camps are having like a tough time and making fun of each other for like stuff that we're all going to be like, oh, we've grown out of that. No one's judgmental anymore.
Yeah, it might just be that might speak to some of like the privilege that I have, like having not really experienced a lot of that hate since then. Like one kid called me a fag in college, but that was, I mean, again, like, you know, that sucked, but one experience and was able to move on. It definitely like affected me though. So yeah, it's
because there's no slur for a straight person yet.
It's coming. Someone, and I think if we really put our minds to it, someone could come up with something.
We can make it. You also talk about pegging a lot on your TikTok.
All the time.
One of, I think the first one I saw of yours was "What Do We Want to Get Pegged?"
Yeah, it's a proud moment.
Those videos, though, are pro pegging.
Oh, extremely pro pegging. The first one came because we had a format where my comedy partner Jack had this thing where he wrote a video and it was like, what do we want? Women. When do we want them? Late at night when the bed feels emptier than usual. And how are we going to get them? By reading in public until they notice us. He's really funny. But that kind of like put me in a mode of like thinking like, okay, what do I want? And then I just started writing about it. And I was like, I want to get pegged.
Yeah.
And then the video did really well. And so we made a bunch more pegging videos.
Have the comments to the pegging videos, does it seem like a lot of other guys want to get pegged?
Oh yeah, it's been like, it was like the response was exceedingly positive. Like
amazing.
There were like, I think the video had like 85,000 shares. I think people really,
it's all guys to their girlfriends
or girlfriends to their or girlfriends to their guys. Yeah.
Or partners to the people that want to get pegged.
Yeah, like I think there are a lot of people that have been toying with the idea, so to speak. And yeah, because I had asked this girl that I was dating, because she's bisexual. I was like, would you ever peg me? And she was like, of course. And then we just broke up before it ever happened. But it was always something that I really wanted to happen. So I just had to bring it to the internet.
You got to source it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've gotten many offers?
Yeah, my DMs, they're like almost every single DM I get is about pegging. I'll show you. Hold on. Wait, ready? Hold on.
Do they all say pegging?
Yep, almost all of them. Some people are like,
read them, Rob?
Yeah. Hold on. Oh wait, sorry, that's my general. That's not the message request. This is the message requests. It's
just
pegging. Hold on. It's like there's like 700 messages in here about pegging. You look peggable and submissive is one of them. I want to step on your face and spit on you, but I'm also in love with you. You're so great. Someone said this could be you, and it's a guy in a shirt that said, I got pegged at Cracker Barrel. Someone said, you have to be kidding me. My dream is to peg a man before I die. Did I just find my unicorn?
Yes.
Baby boys, holler if you're in Cincy. We'll take care of all your pegging needs.
Got options.
If you're ever in Texas, I would gladly peg you. Take you out to a nice dinner and then make you never want to leave good old Tejas.
Are the harnesses bigger in Texas?
Oh, that's... I honestly, I don't even... Like, I have no interest in, like, actually getting pegged by that particular woman. But I would respond with that because that's really funny. Like, I would do it for the bit. Would you like to be my Oreo so I can spread your legs and keep the best part to my mouth?
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Someone just said I'm Jewish.
L'chaim.
Shalom. Realize now someone's like, I saw you at a comedy show tonight. Realize now I need to bring my strap on with me everywhere I go.
Amazing.
Yeah, so those are the messages.
I love it. Have you been pegged?
I'll leave that to the imagination.
Oh my God, this has been so fun. I'll just circle back to the beginning of the episode. In the beginning, you were saying that you guys would all watch this one guy, and it was kind of the understanding that we don't know how to do this, but this is going to happen to us soon. And so that's why we're, like we all know that we're going to go through this. And I kind of love that, like we had the same things. If it was your boobs growing or like you're getting your period, like,
so you'll give them a squeeze.
You give them a squeeze or like, I would literally show my boobs to everybody. I'd be like, this is what you're going to get soon.
Check it out.
Get excited. Yeah. Literally. People would be like, all right, stop.
Put them away, Remy.
Like, we got it.
But I think that's like a very normal part of human behavior. It's probably why a lot of people listen to this podcast, because they're like, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to listen to some people who have and hear about their experiences and decide if I want to have something similar.
Something like that. Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah. And it's very natural. Yeah.
What?
I was just saying it's all very natural.
It's very natural. I saw a TikTok. It's my favorite sentence. I'm going to put that on my tombstone.
If I had $1.
Seeing a TikTok. But I saw a TikTok this morning where there's this guy who talks to like very right-wing people or, pretty hateful people. And he was like, well, just being gay isn't natural. It's not natural. And he starts bringing up, well, lions are gay and they do this for these reasons. And bonobos are gay and it helps them not fight each other.
I love their pants.
I love their pants. And then the guy's like, well, do they raise children together? Do they adopt children together? Yeah, penguins do that. They've been known to do that. And at the end of all this, he goes, well, that's gross.
Yeah, and it's like, there you go.
There you go. You've said your issue is that it's not natural. I've proven that it's natural. You just think it's gross.
Yeah.
Loser.
They will continue to do that. People
for
continue
sure.
to do that. Yeah.
Max, it has been so fun having you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Can you tell everybody where they can find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on all platforms at the same handle. It's former teen heartthrob. So that's former teen heartthrob. All one word. And people think it's because I'm not a heartthrob anymore. I'm just not a teenager anymore. Still a heartthrob. Still a heartthrob. So yeah, that's where you can locate me and DM me if you so choose.
Amazing. I have to ask you one more question.
Yes.
At the end of this podcast, after a sexual experience, I have to ask everybody. Max, did you finish?
Yep.
Okay,
I finished everywhere. This was lovely.
Oh, good.
I got to say everything I wanted to say.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we'll see you guys next time on How Come. Bye.
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 It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz